The Minnesota Vikings might not be getting the recognition they deserve, but let's be real, they're serious contenders this season. When you have a defense as strong as theirs, not only do you have a chance to win every single game, but you also position yourself as a true Super Bowl contender. Let's take a closer look at their recent matchup against the Seattle Seahawks, where the defense came through in a huge way late in the game. One of the most critical plays of the day highlights exactly why this defense is so impressive. Here's what happened. The Vikings sent 6 defenders on a blitz. Andrew Van Ginkel reached the point of attack. Don't worry, we'll come back to that in a second. Alongside him, the defensive linemen were charging forward, and Blake Cashman joined from the other side. Now, the Seahawks' offensive line was running a 6-man slide protection, meaning they shifted their line to the right. They anticipated Cashman's approach and adjusted accordingly, keeping their running back on the left side for extra coverage. This setup created an opportunity for Van Ginkel. He attacked the right tackle, forcing him to focus inward, which opened up a gap. Van Ginkel quickly adjusted, bounced back, and charged through that gap, leaving a clear path to the quarterback. Meanwhile, the interior defensive linemen did an incredible job creating pressure by drawing double teams. This freed up their teammates to take on one-on-one matchups and gave Van Ginkel a direct lane to the quarterback. Here's the best part. Even though Seattle had a receiver wide open down the middle, Van Ginkel's positioning shut that down. As Geno Smith prepared to throw, Van Ginkel stepped into the passing lane and disrupted the play, leading to a massive sack late in the fourth quarter. Van Ginkel was phenomenal throughout the game, proving to be one of the biggest steals of the offseason. This is just one example of why the Minnesota Vikings are legitimate contenders. In the next part, we'll break down even more film from this game to show why they're a team to watch. And hey, if this video gets over 600 likes, we'll do a part 2 focusing on the offense, including stars like Justin Jefferson and others. Who do you think is the biggest threat to the Vikings this season? Let us know in the comments. Let's dive into more game film. While Andrew Van Ginkel has been phenomenal, another standout player for the Vikings this season is Dallas Turner. This guy has shown incredible growth in just half a season. Not only has he become a powerful pass rusher, but he's also proving his ability to stop the run and drop into coverage. Whether it's man-to-man, zone, or covering areas like the curl, flat, or hook zones, Turner has been a game changer for this defense. Now let's break down a specific play. The offense lines up in 12 personnel. If you're unfamiliar with personnel groupings, the first number represents the number of running backs, and the second represents the number of tight ends. So in this case, 12 personnel means 1 running back and 2 tight ends on the field. This often calls for a 4-3 defensive setup, which is ideal for this situation. The offense runs a play action, sending a player inside while Metellus comes around on a late blitz. Typically, the running back would block or chip the blitzer, but here the running back doesn't, leaving a clear lane to the quarterback. When you pressure the quarterback, good things tend to happen for the defense. Bad throws, poor decisions, interceptions, sacks, or even forced fumbles. On this play, Dallas Turner makes an incredible interception. The Vikings are in man coverage with a cover 1 robber setup. This means there's a single deep safety and another player, like Blake Cashman, covering the middle. Turner starts off covering the tight end and doesn't overcommit to the play-action fake. He stays disciplined, keeping close to his man. When the quarterback rolls out to the right, Turner tightens his coverage on the tight end, reads the play perfectly, and steps in for the interception. It almost looks like he hid behind the tight end for a moment, causing Geno Smith to lose sight of him. Regardless, it's a brilliant defensive play, all set up by the pressure on the quarterback. But Turner isn't the only one making plays. On another snap, Blake Cashman gets a one-on-one matchup with the running back, charging straight up the A-gap. The Vikings defense does an excellent job once again, proving how consistent their pressure has been this season. The Seahawks come out in a five-man scat protection to the right, which means their offensive line shifts to cover that side. This setup creates a man-to-man situation on the right, and Blake Cashman takes full advantage by attacking the A-gap. He ends up in a one-on-one matchup with the running back, a scenario any defense would love. Cashman manages to generate pressure, forcing Geno Smith out of his comfort zone. The Vikings are playing cover 2 defense here, which means they've got 2 deep safeties, mid-read coverage in the middle, hook curls on the sides, and flat coverage on the edges. It's a tough defense to throw against, especially when the pressure disrupts the running back's position. Now, if Geno Smith had time in the pocket, he could have connected with DK Metcalf on an in-breaking route that was starting to open up down the middle. But Cashman's pressure forces Smith to move outside the pocket, limiting his options. That's when Dallas Turner and Byron Murphy step in, reading Smith's eyes, closing in and stopping the play for just a 1-yard gain. Let's talk more about Dallas Turner. His versatility and development have been outstanding. Whether rushing off the edge or dropping back into zone coverage, he's showing signs of becoming a future Pro Bowl linebacker. His ability to adapt and thrive in different roles makes him a critical piece of this defense. Before we move on, a quick reminder: if you want to see Part 2 featuring offensive film breakdowns, make sure to hit that like button. Let's get 600 likes. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's free and ensures you stay updated with our coverage of the Vikings throughout the season, including post-game reactions, player analysis, and playoff breakdowns. Now let's get back to Andrew Van Ginkel. He's an all-around linebacker who can do it all. He reminds me of those classic players who excel in every role, and he's clearly been a great mentor to Turner. On this next play, there's a bit of pre-snap motion and a block and release action on the top side. Initially, the offensive line double teams Van Ginkel, but watch how the right tackle becomes hesitant. He extends an arm toward Van Ginkel, but doesn't fully commit to the block. That hesitation is all Van Ginkel needs to make an impact on the play. Here's another brilliant example of Andrew Van Ginkel's impact. On this play, he's matched up one-on-one with a guard. Now, typically, you'd think the Seahawks would like this matchup since Van Ginkel isn't known as a power rusher, but his versatility shines again. Watch how he powers through, driving his opponent backward, and still manages to generate pressure, resulting in another sack. This particular sack is especially impressive. Van Ginkel initially faces a double team, but even with 3 players trying to contain him at one point, he breaks through. The Seahawks have multiple blockers in play, with a couple of block and release assignments, meaning the quarterback should have had plenty of time, 2 to 3 seconds at least, but Van Ginkel's relentless effort completely disrupts the play. Now for the final defensive play of the game. Let me know in the comments if you want a part 2, where we dive into more defensive or offensive film. Here, the Vikings rush just 3 players, including Jihad Ward, who makes a game-changing move. As we've mentioned, generating pressure can force any of 5 outcomes: a bad throw, a bad decision, a fumble, a sack, or an interception. On this play, Ward puts all his weight on his right foot and spins around the center's shoulder, creating immediate pressure. Meanwhile, DK Metcalf is supposed to run a hard-out route, but he rounds it off instead, which ruins the timing and momentum of the play. Under duress, the quarterback throws with anticipation, but the pressure causes a bad throw, a bad decision, and ultimately, a game-sealing play for the Vikings. This defensive stand was the nail in the coffin. The Vikings closed out a hard-fought 27-24 win. The defense stepped up when it mattered most, and the offense delivered when they needed to. These kinds of gritty wins do wonders for team morale, chemistry, and momentum as the season progresses. The Vikings are peaking at the perfect time, but they'll need to stay consistent in the coming weeks to keep their playoff hopes alive, and maybe even compete for a first-round bye. We'll see how it all unfolds. If you're enjoying these breakdowns, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any updates. Let me know what you'd like to see next, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.